I'm the best. I'm still the best. Man with a senior knocked out. I'm good, man.
Showboating is often called a fool's glory, and nothing is more entertaining than watching an arrogant fighter's antics backfire in combat sports. Whether it's dancing during the fight, trash talking in the ring, or even trying to flex at weigh-ins, here are the times when cocky fighters were destroyed and humbled by their opponents. We'll kick things off with a karate combat clash between Freddie Masabo and Dana Butjero, where Cocky Masabo assaulted his rival during their pre-fight face-offs, as well as knocked his hat off. If you're from Mongolia, you know that hat is not to be messed with, and Masabo found it the hard way. UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis has been dishing out humble pies to the elite of the middleweight division. But this isn't a new recipe for him. He's always been a killer in the cage, a trait that dates back to his younger days when he faced off against the brash British loudmouth Yannick Bahati, who let his tongue loose before their clash in 2017.
So it's a pleasure to finally meet my African son in Dricus, and that is back, alright?
Not only that, Bahati even slapped du Plessis during their pre-fight face-off. But when the stakes were at their highest, the Brit faltered and plunged into darkness as Dricus tightened the noose and snapped his neck in a brutal guillotine.
Squeezing for all his worth. He's a gets it! Dricus did it! Oh my goodness! He tapped Bahati!
Another fight that turned into a slap-fighting fiesta was Mirage legend versus Acelik, who talked himself into CTE during the build-up. But when the bell rang and the real action started, it was a total role reversal.
Уже в размашистой. Ё-моё, вот это да! Ой-ой-ой, два попадания подряд и...
Acelik turned into the maestro of devastation, throwing punches like confetti, turning Murade's face all shades of red. Cocky fighters come in all shapes and sizes, like the big and scary Derek Chora. But those who bark often seldom bite. Heading into his boxing showdown against Dillan White, Chora went beast mode when he Hulk smashed the table during the press conference.
Look at me in my eyes, and then if you think I'm a punk, you tell me right now. Because listen, I am the baddest man you ever
The fight was back and forth, with both men throwing bombs.
To the crowd who are behind him. A shot at one of the both throwing haymakers. Oh, big shot!
But it was White who hit the bullseye and put a befitting end to the Chora chapter of his career.
So that'll give him a bit of energy. Yeah. Oh, and that's good night. It is all.
Boxing has seen its fair share of bullies, but none quite as notorious as Charlie Zelenov. The self-proclaimed GOAT built his delusions of grandeur and peddled his fragile ego by picking on random people. Looks like a dangerous man, doesn't he? Well, the roaring lion quickly turned into a scared kitten when he finally stepped into the ring with Deontay Wilder.
You about to make me mad now. Get up. Get up. Get up. You about to get up.
Thank heavens Wilder was neutralized, because Zelenov would have been history by now.
I'm the best. I'm still the best. Man with a senior knocked out. I'm good, man.
Zelenov is just one of those Conor McGregor wannabes who thinks they are tough, like Anatoly, who headbutted Cedric during the face-offs for their 2022 bout before entering the cage and dancing like he wasn't about to get clocked. The Siberian McGregor struck first by securing a takedown, but headbutts forced him back to his feet. Just as Cedric spotted an opening, he unleashed a barrage of vicious elbows, melting Anatoly like butter under a hot knife. Now, we all know Cedric Doumbé is not a guy you want to mess with, especially not with a bag full of dirty tricks, but Nabv thought he'd roll the dice. And it didn't end well. The Frenchman dominated the fight with a masterclass of low kicks, jabs, and scorching overhand rights.
Punch notwithstanding. It's just a lot of emotions on.
Nabv clearly wasn't a fan of Doumbé's brilliance, so he resorted to throwing punches to the back of Doumbé's head.
The ring. And look at this. There's the back of the head. Stop, stop, stop.
Nabv even had the audacity to showboat while getting picked apart. But all those antics and swagger only got Nabv more punishment. Nabv wobbled back to his feet, barely holding it together, but a nuclear right hand sent him straight to the land of ghosts.
Here's Doumbé. He's turned into one of the best finishers in the world. It is over. Cedric, the best. Doumbé.
Kickboxing has had its fair share of colorful characters, like the bad guy Bter, who has experienced it all, including backstage brawls, to slapping hotel staff. But his old tricks badly backfired when he faced Ardis for what felt like the umpteenth time in his career. Bter completely lost his cool.
Aggressive.
Unlike most cocky fighters, Hoya actually dominated the fight, flooring his opponent multiple times and leaving him on the edge with plenty of time left. It was a total beatdown.
Everything Bter throws just power.
Until Ardis pulled a rabbit out of his hat and kicked Bter so hard that all his evil spirits practically flew out of his body. Trash talking a superior fighter is never a good idea. Ricardo Mayorga found it the hard way against Oscar De La Hoya in 2006.
On May 6th, no one's going to be able to recognize you. Just remember that. Your face won't look the same.
Vago cuando era jefe de pandilla y me agarraba con puñales. Y esto es con hecho, no es mentira. Yo no juego con muñeca como Oscar.
Tempers were flaring before the fight, and with the stakes so personal between the two, it was clear that one of them had to go down, and it was Mayorga. De La Hoya dominated the fight from the get-go, flooring Mayorga early.
He's not dancing, he's not really moving, he's right in front.
Big shot by De La Hoya.
The second knockdown was even more satisfying, as Mayorga willingly took a knee to escape being buried under De La Hoya's violent onslaught.
And De La Hoya working the body. Big shot. Mayorga is hurt. This could be it.
But Mayorga's fate was already sealed, leaving him no choice but to swallow his humble pie and head home.
Big shots, and that is it. Jane 80 does.
Another wild slap moment came when Ryan Jet smacked Cub Hawkins so hard that the banana Hawkins was eating went flying across the room. Hawkins avenged the disrespect in a befitting manner, cornering Jet and punching his face into a pulp in every round.
Guys have a good sense of timing, so it's a good hook there.
Before putting him away with over 24 punches in a relentless barrage, leaving no room for a comeback.
Jet being smart with the head movement.
And Wayne Spinola was right there.
Jet was a bloody mess in his corner, but he only had himself to blame for the beatdown, as well as the decision loss.
It is all over. Cub Hawkins.
Heading into their ACA 132 heavyweight title fight, Kevin Johns came face-to-face during a pre-fight interview, where they initially exchanged greetings and smiles, and then punches. Bakachev didn't spare Tony in the cage either, poking his eye without mercy.
И умеет выжидать. Тычок глаз.
But moments later, karma came knocking hard, delivering a brutal dose of payback that was nothing short of savage.
Неплохо, по-прежнему чувствует дистанцию. И четвертый удар, Виктор Корнеев.
We'll wrap it up with one of the more controversial kickboxing matches between Groenhart and Gregorian in 2017. Throughout the fight, Groenhart hammered Gregorian with brutal knees.
Nice flying knee from Myrtle. That's one of his.
Thinking the round was over, Gregorian turned his back.
According to all 5 judges, oh my! Defend yourself at all times!
only to be blindsided by a sucker punch that sent him looping into an abyss. The Bully act ignited a massive brawl between the two parties.
Boom, right there, and then he eats a couple more shots. And you can see Nick Hemmers pulling that guy back.
A few months later, the two clashed again, and this time, Gregorian unleashed a storm of fiery fists, battering Groenhart and sending him crashing into the ropes.
Pivot out. Don't stay center.
Oh, that right hand connected, and Groenhart is dead.
Before giving him that bitter taste of karma on the follow-up.
In the making, Gregorian hitting the champ. What is it? The referee has stopped it. Are you kidding me?
So these were the times when bullies got bullied. Which humbling moment was the most satisfying for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.